Picture this. A wildfire is racing toward your neighborhood, or a chemical plant just exploded upwind from your house. You grab your family, jump in the car, and head for the highway. But when you get there, you're not alone. Thousands of other people had the exact same idea. What should be a 2-hour drive to safety becomes a 20-hour nightmare of sitting in traffic, watching your gas gauge drop while the danger gets closer. This isn't some movie scenario. This is exactly what happened during Hurricane Rita when people died in their cars trying to escape Houston. The harsh truth nobody wants to talk about is that when crisis hits, the roads don't save you, they trap you. But here's the thing. If you understand how evacuations really work, and you plan differently than everyone else, you can beat the system. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because the information I'm about to share could save your life when everything goes wrong. Let me tell you something that emergency planners know, but never say out loud. Our road system is designed for normal days, not for the day when everyone tries to leave at once. Think about your daily commute. Even during regular rush hour, highways get jammed up pretty good, right? Now imagine if instead of just people going to work, it's every single person in your city trying to drive away from danger at the same time. The math is simple, and it's terrifying. A suburban area built for 50,000 people can have its roads completely overwhelmed when just 30% try to evacuate together. That's not even half the population, and the whole system breaks down. When Hurricane Rita threatened Houston in 2005, what normally took 4 hours stretched into 20-plus-hour nightmares. People ran out of gas sitting in traffic, cars overheated. Elderly people died from dehydration in their vehicles. More people actually died trying to evacuate than died from the hurricane itself. This is the reality nobody prepares you for. The movies show heroes racing down empty highways toward safety, but the real world shows millions of people trapped in the world's largest parking lot, getting more desperate by the hour. Your neighborhood evacuation plan probably assumes you'll just drive to the nearest interstate and head away from the problem. But that interstate becomes a linear trap filled with scared, frustrated people who are running out of supplies and losing hope. The further you get from the city, the fewer gas stations there are, and guess what? They run out of fuel fast or lose power and can't pump anything. You end up trapped between a rock and a hard place. You can't go forward because traffic isn't moving, and you can't go back because more cars are piling up behind you. This is why thinking differently about evacuation isn't just smart, it's survival. Here's what most people get wrong about evacuations. They think it's always better to leave. But sometimes the smartest move is to stay put and defend your ground. The key is knowing the difference between threats that will kill you if you stay versus threats that might kill you if you go. There are certain situations where you have no choice but to evacuate, even if the roads are completely jammed. If there's a nuclear plant melting down upwind from you, or a chemical plant releasing deadly gases, or a wildfire heading straight for your house, you leave no matter what. In these cases, staying means certain death, so even if you have to abandon your car and walk, even if you have to ride a bicycle or motorcycle through stopped traffic, you get out. The same goes for major floods when your area is going to be underwater. You can't shelter in place when your shelter is about to be destroyed. But here's where most people make a huge mistake. They evacuate for threats that actually make the roads more dangerous than staying home. When the power grid goes down for weeks, when the economy crashes, when there's civil unrest that isn't directly targeting your neighborhood, the smartest play is often to lock down your house and wait it out. Think about it this way. If the main threat is other people who are scared and desperate, why would you want to be on the highway surrounded by thousands of those same scared, desperate people? When you're sitting in traffic for hours with no air conditioning, no bathrooms, limited water, and your kids are crying, you become one of those desperate people too. Meanwhile, the folks who stayed home are sitting in their air-conditioned houses with full refrigerators, clean bathrooms, and comfortable beds. The roads during these scenarios become the most dangerous place you can be. Pick up my new book before it all falls apart. The Emergency Prep Manual for the Real World, available on Amazon. Link is in the description. You're trapped in a metal box surrounded by increasingly angry people. You're burning through your limited fuel and supplies, and you have no idea when you'll reach your destination or if it'll even be safe when you get there. This is why smart preppers don't just plan to leave. They plan for both options, and they know exactly when each one makes sense. If you decide evacuation is your best option, You need to think like a military strategist, not like a regular person going on a road trip. The military uses something called PACE planning, and it'll save your life when everyone else is stuck in traffic. PACE stands for Primary, Alternate, Contingency, and Emergency. Your primary route is the obvious one, the main highway that everyone else will try to use. It's the fastest route on a normal day, but it'll be the most jammed during a crisis. Your alternate routes are the secondary highways and major roads. These are still pretty well known, so they'll get crowded too, but maybe not as fast as the main highway. Your contingency routes are where things get interesting. These are the back roads, farm roads, industrial access roads, and routes that most people don't even know exist. This is where you might use those little county roads that wind through rural areas, or industrial roads that serve factories and warehouses. Most people have never driven these roads and wouldn't think to use them during an evacuation. Your emergency routes are for when everything else fails. These might include railroad tracks, power line corridors, bike paths, hiking trails, or even waterways if you have a boat. These aren't really roads at all, but they're paths that can get you out when nothing else works. The key is that you have to actually drive all these routes ahead of time, not just look at them on a map. You need to know which bridges have weight limits, which roads flood during heavy rain, which areas might be blocked by locked gates, and where you can get fuel along the way. I spent a weekend driving every possible route out of my area, taking notes about road conditions, gas stations, choke points, and seasonal issues. Some of those rural roads that look great on paper turn into muddy nightmares when it rains. Others have bridges that can't handle heavy vehicles. You find this stuff out by actually driving them, not by hoping your GPS will figure it out during the crisis. The other thing about PACE planning is that you should have supplies positioned along your contingency and emergency routes. Small caches of water, food, extra clothes, and basic supplies can let you travel lighter and faster because you know you have resupply points. A buried PVC pipe with some energy bars, a bottle of water, and a spare radio battery might not sound like much, but when you're on hour 12 of what should have been a 4-hour trip, those supplies become incredibly valuable. Here's something most people never consider. Your car might be the worst possible evacuation vehicle. Cars are what everyone else is using, which means you'll be stuck in the same traffic as everyone else. But if you think outside the box, you can move when everyone else is trapped. Motorcycles are absolutely incredible for evacuation because they can do things cars can't do. You can ride between stopped cars, use the shoulder of the highway, cross medians when you need to change direction, and take trails or paths that would destroy a car's suspension. A decent motorcycle can go about 300 miles on a single tank of gas, while everyone else is burning fuel, sitting in traffic with their air conditioning running. The downside is that you're exposed to weather, and you can't carry as much stuff. But if the choice is between being mobile on a motorcycle or trapped in a car, mobility wins every time. Bicycles are even better in some ways because they don't need fuel at all, and they're completely silent. You can ride on bike paths, through parks, and in places where even motorcycles aren't allowed. An electric bike gives you extra power for hills and long distances, but even a regular bike can cover serious ground when roads are blocked. Think about those bike trails in your area. They probably connect to other trails and can get you across town without touching a single road. Most cities have bike path networks that most drivers don't even know exist. If you have to go on foot, that's actually the most reliable method of all, because you can go literally anywhere. But walking requires serious physical fitness and careful planning about what you can carry. Your pack shouldn't weigh more than about 20% of your body weight, and you need to think about weather protection, food, water, and basic shelter. The advantage is that you can use power line corridors, railroad tracks, drainage ditches, and any other path that exists. You can cut through neighborhoods, parks, industrial areas, and places that would be impossible to reach by car. The key with any alternative transportation is that you need to practice with it before you need it. You can't wait until the crisis hits to learn how to ride a motorcycle or figure out what you can carry in a backpack. These skills take time to develop, but when everyone else is trapped on the highway, you'll be making steady progress toward safety. The single most important factor in a successful evacuation isn't your vehicle or your route, it's your timing. If you leave at the right time, even a basic car on a main highway can get you out safely. If you leave at the wrong time, even the best motorcycle won't save you from the chaos. The key is something I call the 0-hour departure, which means leaving before anyone else even thinks about leaving. This isn't leaving early. This is leaving before the evacuation even starts. Your departure shouldn't be triggered by a news anchor telling you to evacuate. It should be triggered by your own intelligence analysis of the situation. For a hurricane, maybe you leave when the storm reaches a certain strength at a certain distance from your city, not when the mayor holds a press conference. For a wildfire, maybe you leave when the fire crosses a specific landmark that you've identified ahead of time, like a particular ridge or canyon. For civil unrest, maybe you leave when you see the first reports of police in riot gear being deployed to certain areas. The point is that you're acting on information and pre-planned triggers, not waiting for official announcements. The absolute best time to evacuate is between 2 and 4 in the morning. The road network has the lowest traffic during these hours. Gas stations are still operating normally, and you can make incredible time before most people even wake up. Your 0-hour departure should look like a weird off-hours commute. You load your car inside your garage so neighbors don't see what you're doing. You don't put anything on your roof that screams, "I'm evacuating," and you drive out of your neighborhood looking like someone heading to work an early shift. The goal is to blend in with normal traffic and get well clear of the area before the masses start moving. There's a psychological pattern to how evacuations unfold that you can use to your advantage. The first couple hours after an official announcement see light traffic as only the most prepared people leave immediately. Then there's a calm period where people are still deciding what to do, packing and getting ready. The real crush starts about 4 to 8 hours after the announcement as the general population finally mobilizes. If you understand this pattern, you can time your departure for one of the calm windows instead of getting caught in the panic rush. But sometimes you miss the ideal window and find yourself having to leave during heavy traffic. Even then, you can be smart about timing. The first 2 hours of heavy congestion are usually the worst, as everyone tries to leave at once. But here's the thing. A lot of people get frustrated during those first 2 hours and turn around to go home. This creates a second calm period a few hours later when you might be able to move again. Even with perfect planning, sometimes you get caught in the gridlock. Maybe your timing was off, maybe the situation developed faster than expected, or maybe your route got blocked by an accident or road closure. When that happens, you need to know how to read the situation and make smart decisions about whether to stay with your vehicle or abandon it. The first rule of being stuck in evacuation traffic is to position yourself for options. Stay in the far right lane if possible because that gives you access to the shoulder. Stay in the far left lane if that gives you access to median crossovers. The middle lanes are death traps because you have no escape routes. You're just locked in place between other cars. If traffic is moving, even if it's moving slowly, stay with your vehicle. But you need to recognize when the situation has gone from slow traffic to complete parking lot. The warning signs are when you haven't moved forward at all in over an hour. When you see people getting out of their cars and walking around, when you start seeing cars overheating or running out of gas, and when the mood of the people around you starts getting ugly. Those are signs that the evacuation has failed, and you need to think about other options. Before you abandon your car, you need to meet 3 criteria. First, you need to have 0 forward progress for at least an hour. Second, you need to be running low on fuel. If your engine is off and you have less than a quarter tank left, you're in trouble. Third, you need to have identified a viable alternative path, whether that's on foot, by bicycle, or some other route that doesn't depend on the jammed road. Don't abandon your car just because you're frustrated. Only do it when staying with the car is clearly more dangerous than leaving it. When you do abandon your vehicle, do it right. Take your primary bag, your water, any important documents, and anything else you absolutely can't live without. Park your car as far off the road as possible, on the shoulder, in the grass, wherever you can get it out of the way. This isn't just about being polite, it's about maintaining some sense of order and civilization, which might matter a lot when this crisis is over. The shoulder of the highway can sometimes be used to bypass localized problems like accidents or broken down cars. But it's risky. The shoulder is often full of debris that can puncture your tires, and it'll be the first place emergency vehicles try to use. Use it for short distances to get around specific problems, but don't try to drive the shoulder for miles and miles. As traffic gets more desperate, people start doing increasingly dangerous things. They drive on the wrong side of the road. They try to cut through yards and parking lots. They abandon cars in the middle of lanes. Your job is to stay calm and rational while everyone else is losing their minds. Keep a breaching kit in your car that includes a high-visibility vest so you look more official if you have to work around your car, a multi-tool with a window breaker, a tire repair kit, and a portable air compressor. These small tools can solve problems that would otherwise leave you stranded. When the math says evacuation is too risky, when your routes are all jammed, or when the threat doesn't require you to leave your area, the smart play is to lock down your house and wait out the crisis. But this isn't just hiding under your bed hoping for the best. This is an active defense strategy that turns your home into a secure, sustainable fortress. The moment you make the decision to stay, you have about 1 hour to execute a complete lockdown sequence before conditions outside deteriorate too much. The very first thing you do is fill every container you have with water. Bathtubs, sinks, pots, bottles, whatever you've got. City water pressure might hold for a few hours or a few days, but it will fail. And when it does, you want to have captured as much clean water as possible. A standard bathtub holds about 50 gallons, and if you have one of those emergency water bladders, you can get even more. Next, you secure your perimeter. Lock every door and window, close all your blinds and curtains, and deploy any window coverings or security measures you've prepared. The goal is to make your house look unoccupied and uninviting. You don't want to attract attention from people who are looking for resources or shelter. Turn off your main electrical breaker to protect your electronics from power surges as the grid fails, then switch to your backup power system. Only power essential items like your refrigerator and communication equipment. Set up your radio communications, police scanner, ham radio, whatever you have, so you can monitor what's happening outside without revealing your presence. Most people don't understand how much difference light discipline makes. In a blacked-out neighborhood, even a small amount of light leaking from your windows makes your house a beacon. Use blackout curtains, not just regular blinds. If you need light in a room, hang thick blankets over the inside of doors to prevent light from spreading through the house. Red light preserves your night vision better than white light and is less visible from outside. Sound travels incredibly far in a quiet, grid-down world. No loud music, no shouting, no slamming doors. Put rugs or blankets at the bottom of doors to muffle sound. Even normal conversation can be heard from surprisingly far away when there's no background noise from traffic and air conditioners. The smell of cooking food will attract hungry people like a magnet. Avoid cooking methods that create smoke or strong odors. If you must cook, try to do it during normal meal times when other smells might mask it. A simple exhaust fan made from a computer fan and some activated carbon can scrub odors before they leave your house. All your garbage and waste needs to be sealed and stored where it won't create smells that advertise your presence. Rationing isn't just about making your supplies last longer. It's about maintaining discipline and routine during a stressful time. Label everything with consumption dates and stick to your plan. Eat the most perishable items first, but don't let anyone in your household start making emotional decisions about food. Set up a strict routine that gives everyone jobs and maintains some sense of normalcy. People need to wake up at regular times, have assigned tasks, eat meals on schedule, and maintain personal hygiene. This structure is what keeps groups from falling apart under stress. The psychological challenge of being locked in your house for days or weeks is often harder than the physical challenges. Boredom, fear, and close quarters can make people turn on each other if you don't manage it carefully. Everyone needs a purpose, and everyone needs to feel like they're contributing to the group's survival. The road system that we depend on every day becomes a death trap when everyone tries to use it at once. But now you know the real truth about how evacuations work and how to beat the system when it matters most. Whether you choose to evacuate using the P.A.C.E route system and alternative transportation, or you decide to shelter in place with the Bastion protocol, you're no longer depending on hope and luck. You have actual strategies that work when normal approaches fail. The key is making these decisions before the crisis hits, not in the moment when everyone else is panicking. Take the time to drive your alternative routes. Practice with motorcycles or bicycles if that's part of your plan, and set up your home for lockdown scenarios. The people who survive major disruptions aren't the ones with the most gear or the biggest vehicles. They're the ones who thought differently and planned smarter. Pick up my new book, Before It All Falls Apart, the emergency prep manual for the real world, available on Amazon. Link is in the description. If this video opened your eyes to how evacuation really works, smash that like button and share it with people who need to understand this. Subscribe and hit the notification bell because I'm constantly researching and sharing the tactics that could save your life when everything goes wrong. Remember, when roads become parking lots, having a different plan isn't just smart, it's survival.